elements to it. Like, you complain nothing is open on a Sunday and no one goes to the pub. Imagine.
I'll think for a bit of work. I'll be running the OJ.
Oh, yeah, you'll have the most high definition view.
Well, I did actually think that I could watch it at work, and then I was like, oh, hang on, I'm around TVs all the time. Of course I could put it on the TV.
Yeah, it's a Friday afternoon. My boss is like, yeah, we'll just go to the fashion centre and get a big screen going. Sounds like a good Friday afternoon, that. So I was like, I won't just take that off because I want to watch games. Like, mate, if you're here, you're not going to do it.
No.
Let's go watch it. Cool. Cool.
I really hope we can do that this year.
Do we though?
Yeah.
I'm not convinced we do.
Um,
I think we're like the reverse of what we've been for 20 years. We've got a decent defence.
yeah.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Football Tasmania.
That's all right.
Yeah.
2026 Statewide Cup Final. My name is Roger. I'll be your ground announcer and MC today. We're getting underway shortly with the Women's Statewide Cup Final between Launceston United and Devonport City Strikers. Launceston United beat South Hobart 3-1 in the semi-finals late here. But thanks to Daniel Gunter double in the second half, Devonport Strikers came from behind to beat South 2-1 late final. For those who travel, which will be most of you, given the two teams, if you need the public toilet, so jump down to the right of the main grandstand. If you're sitting in the grandstand looking out, down the stairs you'll find the public toilet area. And just a reminder,
Test 1, 2, 3. Welcome to KG5 Women's Statewide Cup Final. It's Devonport taking on Launceston United.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. KG5 Football Park, Devonport v Launceston United. Beautiful day.
Do I need it?
Yeah, we've got one.
The windsock. No, I don't think I'll worry about it. Right. I'm thinking we do it standing and maybe set up the stream here for replays.
Yeah. Do you want to use your laptop first? We'll use mine later. Save some battery.
Yeah, I've got my powerboarding case, but not a bad idea.
I hadn't even.
no game without skilled match officials, and the match officials for today
I was also nearly going to wear the
central referee Claire Eaton,
very bright Eagles Kelly green jumper for you, but I thought as soon as I saw you were up here, I thought I better not. You might throw me off the scaffold.
That's basically what I said, just less European.
Yeah.
Because I'm Hocker. That's basically what I said.
It is.
Yeah. Just think Usher. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know I'm now going to have to say that live on air because you've done that now.
She scores a goal.
goal number 1, Jasmine Fenn, 3, Lucy Smith, 4, Maya Mitchell, number 5, the captain, Laura Dixon, 6, Elizabeth Fogarty, 8, Danielle Gunter,
Try and give you a bit more room here, bud.
Yeah, no, I'm moving the chair now.
Laura Wilson, 13, Catherine Hill, 21, Olivia Dumaroche, 24, Tina Bennett, and substitutes for Launceston United, number 2, Rose Hyde, 9, Rita Johnson, 14, Indy Young,
Just still
15, Olive Sims,
lining up for us, Paul.
Isabella Dove,
Why are they facing us and not the crowd? next afternoon, but not quite. And welcome to KG5 for the Women's Statewide Cup Final. It's Devonport taking on Launceston United. One of the biggest days of the Tasmanian footballing calendar. It is glorious sunshine here at KG5, the home of football, for this big clash. I'm Andrew calling the action for Football Tasmania. And joining me on the call is my good friend Paul Hunt. Paul, couldn't have asked for better conditions than these.
This is absolutely delightful in the nearly 10 years we've been doing this together. Andrew, I reckon this is the nicest cup final day we've ever had. Not a cloud in the sky, 14, 15 degrees, perfect pitch despite all the rain we've had down here in Tasmania in the last week. And I think that sets up for a fantastic contest here this afternoon as we see the coin toss going ahead in front of us. Did you manage to catch who won that?
It looked like Lucy Foot might have won it and kicking to the left of your screens. I think that's what she was gesturing at, but it's going to be a tall order for this Launceston United team here. Definite underdogs up against an absolute juggernaut of women's football in this state, the Devonport Strikers. Haven't lost in well over 2 years now, looking for a third consecutive unbeaten season. They've become an absolute powerhouse. Are United any shot of causing the big upset today, Paul?
Look, I think they do. Aside of all the usual cup final cliches, it's a once-off game, anything can happen. I think they're rounding into a great side, this Launceston United team. They've still got a few of the players from when they won this competition a couple of years ago, the likes of Danny Gunson and Kat Hill, but then they've got a real bit of star quality up front. Olivia Di Marais, I think, is the real X-factor for this game here this afternoon. That's why I think if I was to stick my neck out in the line, I reckon this might have extra time in it. From there, I'm not quite sure what will go from there, but I have a sneaking suspicion this might go the distance and a bit more.
Well, I certainly hope so. Di Marais, very influential in the semi-final, and yeah, she's really shown her quality in the Super League this year, and I tend to agree that if they are going to cause the boil over today, she's going to be a big part of that. Also, we know how much firepower this Strikers outfit has, so the defensive unit is going to have to be rock solid. Of course, they've got a very reliable centre-back in Katie Hill, who's just been there for years. Laura Dickinson, I think, is someone who's got big game experience, scored a couple of goals in a cup final a couple of years ago. She's going to be integral to just keep things tight at the back. And Jaslyn Van in goals. Obviously, they're going to need a strong showing from her because this Devonport team, not short on firepower. The goal scoring there, another really last decade than Jasmine White.
Absolutely, but the one thing that may not quite work in Devonport's favour, her strike partner, Whitney Knight, not playing here this afternoon. The former Melbourne Victory, was W League back in the day, A-League Women's now player. Also missing for Devonport, Georgia King, away for a few months from the side. So they are missing two of their crucial players, but Devonport, as you mentioned, with Jazz up front, and then Asuka Doi, probably the star player over the last sort of 2 years here for Devonport. That is an attacking lineup not to be messed with, as we're nearly underway here at KG5 Football Park.
Quickly run you through the lineups as we get underway. Devonport and Michaela Mitchell in goal. Then you've got Jazz White, Lucy Foot, Annabelle Wiley, Abby White, Nana Bier, Asuka Doi, EJ Sullivan, Grace Sims, Holly Emmett, and Isabella Atkinson. Launceston United, who are just launching this one forward with Van Skinton, Fogarty, Gunson, she'll be a key as well. Roy, Fulton, Hill, Di Marais, and Bennett. But White is in behind. This could be a lightning fast start. Jasmine White, the opening minute. Blink and you'll miss it. The speedster for the Strikers wastes no time in the final. Devonport, they've only just got off the bus, but they've hit the lead.
It's got to be the quickest goal in Women's Statewide Cup history. Jazz White, we thought that would be the way they're going to approach today. Through ball through to Jazz. The defence was fairly deep, but look at that. 18 seconds on the clock, and the Strikers go 1-0 ahead. Pretty much everything we said about earlier about this being a tight contest can just about go out the window here for the moment, as that is lightning from the Strikers.
Wow, what a start. And Jasmine White just using her trademark pace. That's why she gets so many goals. And now Van just skewing that one out of play. It's a nervy opening here for United. And probably a little bit shell-shocked after that. It's just got a one basic mistake, a little switch off at the back, and suddenly you're chasing the final.
I hadn't even had time to write me tweet yet that we're even on air. That's so quick as Strikers now get the throw in towards Doi, and we'll see that one out for a goal kick. It's going to be real important now, Launceston United, to shut up shop at the defence, because I think if you concede another one, that rapidly, you can really see the game potentially getting away from you. And Jazz Venner was going to go through saying one of the best young keepers in the state, and we've seen that progression year on year after starting a couple of games a couple of years ago to being the number one keeper and potentially of Tasmanian origin, potentially the best keeper in the state now. But has already seen one go past as a shot from distance from Doy. Cross coming back in, and there's a comfortable collect for the keeper.
Yeah, vital these next 10 minutes. They can just settle things down. United, as Nina Roy is immediately pressed by Doy, just trying to work her off the ball. They've managed her minutes carefully to try and get her fit for this occasion. When you lose a player, to be able to bring in Asuka Doy, I mean, what a luxury. It's an embarrassment of riches the Strikers have. It's why they've been so successful. And she comes in today ready to do a job. But here's Smith protecting and trying to turn away. She'll be on the keys for United in an attacking sense. No doubt as a striker, plays slightly deeper these days, but I think that's just wanting to get her more involved in the game. She brings such quality.
Yeah, definitely trying to get more on the ball. We still haven't seen Launceston United get into their attacking half as of yet here this afternoon. The throw in high towards Doy. Managing to keep it in play with Smith now. It's Foot getting it out wide. There was some space to attack there, but Launceston United take over. Looking for the through ball is Gunson. Lays it off short. And that one well blocked by Asuka Doy, who cleaned up at the awards ceremony last year for best players and kept having to go up and give the same speech. Was so grateful to be here in Tasmania. One of my abiding memories of that night last year.
I think the Strikers are grateful to be able to call upon her services. It was so influential last year. Been an injury-plagued campaign so far, but see what she can do today. Side already in front. It's United who need to make the running, and Doy gets on the ball here, but just showed a bit too much of it to Mitchell. Gunter now working it to Desmarais. A chance for the lively attacker to get involved. Now Mitchell, United pressing forward for the first time. The marauding Dickinson loves to make those overlapping runs down the right. She's also pretty proficient at the long throw-in. We'll see if that's what she opts for here. One of the best long throws in the Super League is Dickinson. She does give it a bit of a roost into the box, try and cause some chaos, but it's well repelled by the Strikers' defence. But back on it there was Fulton. Now away comes Sims. Just turned into some trouble though. Lost it. Won it back though. And now White's making a darting run in behind. Sims trying to pick her out. White will get there. Took a touch and away through to her. Hill now corralling White, who cuts inside. Gets some assistance here from Atkinson. Atkinson's ball broken up. The danger though not yet past. Sullivan back to White. Hit it first time and straight into Fogarty. And away they go.
Glash now trying to get in behind the Devonport defence. It's great covering there by Sullivan. Gets it inside, still going, and eventually has to concede the corner in the end between the two of them. Well, it was 1v3 there from Desmarais. Sorry, it looks like it's going to go out for a goal kick.
Yeah, she got the shot away in the end. Defender, I thought, was going to clear that.
I see the big right leg of the defender thought that was sliding in, but Desmarais there with the touch. But you could see earlier from that long throw-in with Dickinson, Desmarais not quite doing the full tunnel, but just trying to nudge the centre-back to create a bit of space there. I think we're going to see Dickinson throw that in a lot here this afternoon. Desmarais just right foot touch and then first time shot. That could be one of the ways Launceston United unlock the defence. And speaking of unlocking the defence, what a ball through for Sims, who just went a tad early there. I thought that was pretty good looking live here from our new vantage point up here where the camera is.
A new setup. I'm not minding the scaffolding on halfway here today, Paul. There'd be other years in cup finals where being a bit exposed to the elements not so good, but on a day like this, lovely place to watch and call a game of football from. Good view of the grandstand, which you'll be seeing through your stream at home. It's perfect conditions for football, that. Kick not quite so perfect, but it might work out for United as they're able to work it wide. Sullivan closed it down. Opportunity here for Bennett. The starting lineup today, across to Gunton. Just dwells on the ball, wanted someone to come to it. Nothing really forthcoming, so went back to Bennett. Bit of a fresh air swing there from Holly Emmett. Desmarais just unnerving her a little, perhaps. That's going to be the key for United. Just getting the ball to Demarash's feet and letting her run at this defence is the sense I'm getting early on here. She's looking dangerous. Gunson flicks it on in the direction of Demarash, who takes it first time, but harmlessly into the arms of Mitchell.
As Mitchell launches that one forward, Dickinson letting it bounce, and Sims allowed to control. Dickinson got a touch and just not quite on the same wavelength there. Sims and White in the end. As Jazz Venn picks up, and I'll say we've seen this maybe once or twice down the year. Same front shirt sponsor for both teams is an interesting development in Tasmanian football. Floor world there, really getting around the Women's Super League. As the throw-in goes down the line, trying to control it his foot. Not quite getting that one under control, but Devonport maintaining possession. Lucy Foot goes again, this time down by Smith. They're having a couple of goes at trying to get it out here, Launceston United. Step over or two there from Fogarty, and does well to get out of trouble, but the strikers now pounce. It's Sims into the 18-yard box. Lucy Foot wants it. Cross to no avail. Devonport keeping three players back there for Demariah, and she still manages to hold the ball up well and find a teammate. Skadoy, chip through ball towards Sims. Another opportunity, just Jazz White up in advance, goes in that direction. Well cut out there from Fogarty. And Demariah really staying at that halfway line, knowing that's about roughly where the teammate clearances are going to land. Controls the ball, has three teammates up in support this time. Manages to find one down the line. That one is cleared out.
Well, they've settled well, United, after the disastrous start, going behind after just 18 seconds. They haven't dropped their heads. They've got to the task and started to ask a few questions back the other way now, settling into this contest. Albeit now chasing the game as the throw is flicked on into the box. No one at home, though, for the strikers. Working was Mitchell for that secondary ball, but Sukadoy able to take it away, and she threads it, looking to spring Sims in behind with a foot race with Dickinson. 2-on-2 at the back here. Sims running at Dickinson. Dickinson defended superbly. Woodhill under a little bit of pressure, though, and she cleared it straight to Doy. Doy shaping to shoot from range, and Ben gets across to keep it out. Always a threat from distance, Asuka Doy. Ben gets across to deny.
Good sharp save there from Ben after Launceston United conceding early. First real save in anger she's had to make since that early goal. As you mentioned, 18 seconds. That first one, if you hadn't quite turned the telly on yet, those at home, it's the first goal. One back for that one at half-time as the strikers now with the corner. 5 in the box to aim for. High ball above the keeper, and Dust gets a hand on it to palm it out from the Cup Final Olympico attempt there. As we'll now see the same from the other side from Atkinson. Was heading with Devonport folk before. See, we mentioned Georgia King not playing today, the usual corner and free kick taker. You would imagine there'd be plenty of delivery on top of the keeper's head if Georgia was playing this afternoon. Also, those long-range free kicks as well been so potent for Devonport while on their 2-year unbeaten run. As now Atkinson delivers this one in a similar spot towards the back post and just over the top there from White.
Very close from Abby White. Just over the top, had a free header at close range. And look, Van is a very good shot stopper, but she's not overly tall for a keeper, and maybe they're sensing that she's trying to get her up in the air as the approach. Ballantyne's got his side, swinging those corners right into the box there. Test her out early on. Wasn't far away there. Here is Grace Sims, been prominent early on. Sims, Doy had to run cleverly for Sims, but she wasn't quite aware that a little fakey was coming. The Japanese attacker. So they survive dangerous couple of moments. See how high they're pressing up here. They want to pass out from the back, and the strikers are well aware of that. And they force the turnover here. Doy back to Sims. Sims returns it. Here's an opportunity, slid through for White. Oh, just needed to pull the trigger. The offside flag had been raised regardless. She went the return ball to White. Maybe she knew she was offside.
Yeah, that one, at least from our vantage point up here, Andrew, looked a smidge more offside than the one called on Sims earlier in the game. But still would want to back the striker. The strike rate as White there to just turn and shoot on that occasion, regardless of knowing whether the flag was up or not. As Devonport get back in good numbers. Interesting question posed on the messages from female football expert Molly Afton. They do play for the Floor World Cup every year, so are they going to give it out for the Cup final? Is this for 2 trophies here this afternoon? As Laura Dickinson gets it out wide. Not really a great deal of options here in front of our camera position. Boy, and I think he's done quite well there to win the throw-in. He was getting surrounded by yellow shirts. This might be an opportunity to try and use the space of KG5 Football Park, one of the wider pitches in the state, particularly compared to some of the ones up north as Demaraes tries to go down the line. And that one was out of play. And there's an opportunity now for another Dickinson throw-in.
See if they opt for the long launch again. Looks like Fogarty, the defender, is making her way up for it, so it suggests it's incoming. And why not when you've got a weapon? Sling it into the box, get it away. Mitchell battling with Sims, and then Doy just takes over, says, I've got this. Showed a little bit too much of it, though, but Fulton quite convincingly clear. He'll wheel and ends up lofting it just into space cleverly for Smith, and Smith will look to get in behind of Pierre here. It's Smith. She's got a couple in the box, but the striker's back en masse. Dickinson rolls it in. Dangerous ball. Demaraes. Can she get something going here? Demaraes. I'll tell you what, she had to hit the deck there. That would have been very interesting. There was some clear contact on the leg. She kept her feet and wins a corner. That would have been a real decision for the referee, I reckon, Paul Hunt.
Oh, I reckon so, and the referee looking at from a slightly better angle than we've got up here on that occasion, just with it sliding in. And Demaraes, did well to win a corner out of that. Had 3 yellow shirts surrounding her. But that would have certainly put a question in the referee's mind. As we'll see. Nottingham United now at the corner from this end. Oh, free header in the box. Mitchell comes out to collect in the end. It was Roy who managed to have a fair bit of time there. 3-on-3 at the back here, and Hill's header is crucial. And as far as Doy, easy foot with the through ball. Now wide again. The pace of Jazz White going into the box. Heavy touch. Keeper comes out. Good pass. And eventually it does roll over the line there from Sims. Well, Devonport have been launching these fast attacks down the wing. This time it's White teeing up Sims.
Yeah, it's the pace of Jasmine White again, and on a big pitch like this, it is really, really coming to the fore. That extra room in behind, she is just flourishing in. When they've gone up to attack the corner, suddenly it was just a little exposed at the back. There was room for her to run into. She cuts it back, and Sims, who started this game in outstanding fashion, was in the right spot. Finishes in off the post as United coming together for a bit of a team talk here. 2 down after 15 minutes. This is not how they were scripting things up. It's a mountain to climb now. But Devonport have wasted no time here in seizing control of the cup final. White and Sim, a 2-goal lead, and comes probably off the back of United's best patch of the match too. Oh,
the next time there was a break in play, my next comment was it's good to see Launceston United gaining some position, gaining some territory after that first 10 minutes where it did feel like it was predominantly Devonport. And then Devonport go up the other end. First real attack for a few minutes. First time Lucy Foot properly crossed halfway with the ball for about 5 minutes, and that through ball, the assist of the assist, was exceptional there from the strikers. And for those who may not have seen a great deal of the Devonport team, we're seeing a real exhibition here so far this morning of why they are unbeaten and being the most dominant team in women's football in Tasmania over the last few years. Now Launceston United gained some territory. On the Lonnie United bench either. I'm just seeing a few of their subs warming up. I doubt we'll see anything in the first half, but it's interesting after 16 minutes, they're already off the bench. It's not like they're trying to keep cold, which is normally the issue here in KG5 in June. As the through ball from Devonport this time, not staying in the field of play.
Well, of course, the big risk is now you've got to get 2 goals. You've really, to break down the 7-foot team, you're going to have to commit bodies forward. You're going to have to leave those spaces at the back for White to flourish and back the other way. Will he risk conceding more? It's such an uphill task for them now as White started an offside position there, so it'll be one of United's ball, but they've got no choice at this point. They need to find some goals, and just got to hope that maybe Demarage can find a bit of magic. She's threatened a couple of times. Just needs something. Could pull one back before half time. Something to leave with, but the more they attack, the more threat the strikers are going to pose the other way. Demarage, the target of this one. If she can track it down, she did, but just ran out of real estate. Through for a goal kick. Don't mind the more direct approach. I think that's been where they've looked pretty threatening, just getting it in towards her quickly.
And we saw with the last long throw in as well, Fogarty coming up from centre-back, a la what we're probably about to see in the Men's World Cup with the Socceroos and Harry Sutar coming up in the next couple of weeks. And again, that was promising when they had time to set up and put their players who are better with the head up top as Devonport now trying to go down the grandstand side, this time running out of real estate. And it's really been, I think Sims has been such a good outlet on the left-hand side. They haven't really needed to go down the right wing just about at all for this game, as we see Foot heading down there now. Because whenever it's going down the right flank, it seems to get bogged up and stuck in throw-ins around halfway. And when they attack down the left, Sims seems to have, Bonnie United are keeping 3 defenders back at all times, like most teams do when you've got 4 at the back. Whatever side you're attacking on, one pushes up and the other one tucks in. So they haven't quite gone to anything like, a player-to-player marking system down the back just yet. But we'll see if there's any changes coming up for Lonnie United. Now chasing the game for 2 as needing 2 goals as well, just getting bogged down in a bit of back and forth on the far side. Can Devonport get the ball on the deck and try to use this space? Wouldn't mind seeing Sims starting from a wider point here, drifting over more towards the centre of the park. Mascadoy pushing up as well. Devonport not sitting back in the slightest though, Andrew.
No, they're just inching their way forward, pushing up into the final third, and still a few more yards with a throw here. Here's Foot, Sullivan, White, trying to spring Sims again. Bounces around to the assured feet of Katie Hill. Demarage really starting to drop deep now, trying to get involved to drive the play for her side. She wins the throw in. Bennett will take. Launches it down the line for Danny Gunton. She wins the throw. United now working their way up the grandstand side of the ground. 2 goals in arrears here for a bright start from the Devonport Strikers. For a 3rd cup triumph in a row. They have been the dominant side in women's football for some time now. They haven't lost a game in many years. I'm not sure when the last time they surrendered a 2-0 lead would have been in a game. Imagine even longer.
Obviously they burst onto the scene once getting into the Women's Super League a few years ago. And since then, whilst we've had South Hobart, Kingborough and Lonnie United as sort of the big 4, that's surely offside there from as White, who tried to get out of the way, but the ball pretty much went straight between her legs, so it was a bit hard to call that not interfering with play. Might see another more direct free kick here in action. So direct. It almost ended. Has managed to keep that in, but out for a goal kick. It might have been tempting to keep that out for a throw-in, almost a kind of a 40-20 in rugby league there for a bit of territory, and see if you can do something by penning Devonport into a corner of the ground. Obviously, it's a little early for that kind of not quite negative tactic, but just the tactics, but when you're 2-0 down, you really don't want the ball in something like this situation here, which Dickinson does well to get around Sims. Tries to find a teammate up ahead, but only finds a yellow shirt as Doy turns out of trouble expertly. Hill gets there before Sims. Dickinson unlucky to trip over the ball there. Sims is onside. Oh, just not. The defender on the far side in Bennett might have just kept her onside there.
Yeah, I thought she was onside. That was masterful from Doy. The turn, spied the lane to roll it through. What she just sprung her teammate to perfection here.
As play continues, Ash controls that one well. Just about manages to keep that one in.
Flag never went.
Flag
on.
never went down.
Now it
Now
has.
it has. The centre referee was looking at the AR, wondering, is there a flag, is there a flag? Everyone stopped. And we will eventually see, I assume, a throw in on the far side, on the grandstand side.
Well, everyone had stopped as if the ball had gone out of play. And then the flag never came, so Foot just said, well, I'm going to play the whistle. And then eventually they decided, well, yeah, it did. Maybe just forgot to put the flag because she thought it was clear. I'm not sure. Either way, we get the right result in the end. We'll throw it. Approach the halfway mark of this opening half. Champions starting nicely. United looking to hit back there. Two star attackers, Gunson and Demarash, combining here. And Demarash trying to show her pace and turn to the box, but just too many yellow shirts back there to deal with. Hill broke it up. Oh, just left there, and that allowed in Doy. Doy with strength, just holding off. They'll chip it over for Sims. Dickinson breaking that up with a header. Now Hill slides into only so far as Atkinson. Foot track this one down. Just blast it first time over the top and try and spring Jazz White in again, but it was Fogarty. Just lost her footing with the clearance though. That forced the errant pass and the turnover. Sims. Dickinson clears it away. Demarash crashing in to Foot. Quite tough customers there. Strikers will recycle it out the back. Bill Wiley isn't too troubled in the heart of that defence thus far. Sends this one across as they to build down the left now. Sims working beautifully together, and Sims springs it in behind. The flag is raised on Whites. Jeez, they're looking so threatening with that little triangle of Doy, Sims and White. Every time they combine, it just looks like trouble at the back for United.
And we're talking before about how Lonnie United are keeping 3 players back. Well, the Strikers are keeping 3 players up at every possible opportunity. Sims is joining White as a second striker more centrally, and Doy in that attacking midfield position. They're potentially an instruction at the start of the game not to do too much tracking back. It's certainly in Asker Doy's wheelhouse to be that more box-to-box, but just being able to leave it further up forward at just about all times is quite the luxury. His foot, it's that. Eventually cleared by Launceston United. They're getting the ball in the Demaraeus direction a fair bit from these clearances. And Devonport just crowding the Lonnie City striker as it's a good run down the wing from Pierre. And the wind just picking up a little bit here in KG5, affecting that lofted clearance as Atkinson looking for a pass. Eventually out towards Sullivan. Foot turning. Quite getting the purchase on that one. Desired was Atkinson. Eventually gets it back. Devonport slowing the tempo a little. Foot allowed to turn. And does so. The cross coming in towards White. That one falling out for a goal kick. Question I'm pondering for you, Andrew, is Launceston United in their defence. They've got the name of a football stadium in their defence. Is there any other combinations you can think of the Hill Dickinson?
Hill Dickinson. Yeah, it is a fine stadium, so has to be said. I think that's the only one I can see in the starting lineups today.
Haven't had any Traffords in the league before.
Yeah, I can recall.
And Sven United keeping both their centre backs at the 6-yard line, ready for the pass. Allows Devonport to push up. They had 6 players there in the front 30 metres of the ground, and I do think with these short goal kicks, when you allow enough time to sort of think and put place where you want the ball, it does allow the defending team to push further up and put some pressure on. But when you've got a Cruyff turn in your locker, you can get out of pressure quite easily. There's a nice turn there from Fogarty. She now launches that one clear. Good defensive cut out again from the strikers. Sims. Now Doy. Through ball. Sims is onside, but spin of the ball going the other way.
It's an interesting dilemma for United, the playing out from the back. It has looked a little fraught with danger thus far, but I suppose you've also helped draw Devonport up the pitch and maybe just give Demarais a little bit of space to work in at the back, whereas if you're playing a bit more direct and not doing that, they can collapse back, and you need goals, maybe you need that room, but geez, the strikers are sweating all over them, pushing up, and they've looked more dicey than composed playing out from the goal kicks thus far, so it's interesting to see whether they'll keep going with that approach. They've seemed pretty committed to it thus far. But, Devonport well aware that's what they want to do. They are sweating all over them.
It just doesn't quite have the element of surprise at the moment, I don't think. I think Devonport have got, if they weren't already wise to it based on the pre-game scouting, they certainly are now by the 20-odd minutes. So once you know, if a plan A has been sort of found and out by the opposition this early, you sort of need to turn to plan B, and that plan B has been getting up towards Demarais, who controls it well and gets past one. And that one managed to be cleared into the technical area of Launceston United. Some good reflexes there on show from the bench to avoid potential injuries. That one came flying in to the bench.
Demarais at the moment, a couple of times recently, she's got past the first defender, but the second one's been there covering. It's a problem. She's looking up and seeing a wall of yellow at the moment, and again, there's plenty of numbers there just to crowd her out. You've got a 2-goal lead, you can afford that, and here go the strikers again, and that ball was just a bit too central. Went to Dickinson, Venn skews the clearance, and that might invite some more danger. Sims looking to get the better of Dickinson, and she does. Here's Sims, off towards the goal. She fired a tame shot right into Hill, almost landed in the path of Foot. White, back to Foot. Now here's Doy, quite on the same page of Sims on that occasion. Nervy moment again there at the back for United. It was very nearly Jasmine White storming in behind for a third time this game. The ball picked out the one on a United shirt of the 3 bodies that were back there. Slightly to the left or right. Could well have been 3-0. So they look to win the ball back here. Yeah. She's quick, but not that quick. Yes, United throw.
Looks like it's been given to the strikers. Now, I thought that was just kicked out by, but been asked by the referee to retrieve the ball down in the far corner. Definitely think that was a Lonnie United throw.
On replay, absolutely.
One of those benefits where this isn't the side the AR's on, they're sort of 80 metres away. As Hill trying to let that one roll out, and Sims did get a toe there, but the experience of Katie Hill coming to the fore there. And right now, whilst Devonport, you can just see them getting back into their shape. Lonnie United taking quite a while to get these goal kicks ready, and it looks like we might finally see a plan B from the goal kicks come into effect. Yeah, it's the wind picking up a little bit here. Not quite sure in what direction at this stage, but just a bit of territory up here. Doy's pass, cut out, Foot retrieves on the far side, trying to run down the line. And we're going to run out of real estate, just kept in. Cross coming in, now White at the top of the box, shot from range, and Venn, good height for the keeper. And Venn will throw it out early towards Roy. And that one Manages to get towards halfway.
Yeah, it was a decent effort from Abby White, just couldn't quite get it up into the top corner and really test Ben. Fairly comfortable in the end, but sat there nicely for her. Wrapped the boot around it. Turning the screws again here. Skadoy just turning around Fulton, and then she has a shy from range, and a fumble from Ben, recovered it just in time. Got sniffing about was White. Doy just a surprise shot there. Maybe suspected the keeper wasn't anticipating it, and the wind probably is at the striker's back a little. Doy looking to land what, well, it's still early, but geez, it'd be close to a knockout punch if they go ahead 3-0.
Yeah, it certainly will be. And that one, I think, did just take the wind a little bit. It was always aiming for that far corner, was Doy, and Ben seemed to have it covered as White now. On the head, Dickinson, just in front of Sibbs, clears, and Ben was shuffling across, and it just seemed to either dip or take an extra bit of swerve at the end. Collect that one quickly after the initial save.
Always awkward when they pitch just in front of you.
I also think on this KG5 surface, it does have a bit more run than a Birch Avenue or a Valley Road. It's with the newer artificial surface here as Doy turning, looking for an option. Turns back, gets on the left foot, shot straight in the hill. And Launceston United, the chip going through here, but that one harmlessly wide. I was going to say, struggling to get out of their own half in the last 5 to 6 minutes. We're now 33 and a bit minutes through, and not being able to get the ball to Demarash.
No, they've got them pinned back, don't they? Nasa Kadoy just turning every which way she pleases right now. Absolute joy to watch her on the football. There's White, wants to pressure Hill. Passed it on out of there towards Demarash, who's surrounded by 3 yellow shirts, and they win out. Bennett across to Gunton. Gunton will roll it down the line for Demarash, who can have a run here. Wiley again, it's just slightly heavy. They'll feel for the corner. It did take a touch, so an opportunity here perhaps to create something against the run of play. They'll push up. Certainly need to be watchful on the counter-attack after last time, but could this be? I think he absorbed a lot of pressure these last 10 minutes. 3-on-3 at halfway is very interesting. As the corner will be taken. Fulton and Fogarty pushing up from defence. Punch towards Demarash, and now the counter could be on as Doy just launches it forward. Heavy touch will go wide, and that should be out for a United throw. But you knew what Mitchell was there. The defending, yet they're sensing an opportunity back the other way.
You're really, if you're a Launceston United fan, you're really hoping for a minimum of shot on target or keeping the ball up there, because from our position up here, you could just see Devonport Strokes committing to 3-on-3 for the counter-attack. And a less heavy touch there could have seen them really on for that third goal, like we saw how they scored earlier as this throw down the line well cut out. White back to Doy, who's starting to really take this game by the scruff of the neck as Sims looks for a teammate. Foot probably the best option. Turns back. Dickinson there every step of the way so far. Now we go to Foot. Good interception there from Lonnie United, and Smith. Sullivan running out of room on the far side with the renovated toilets and change rooms here at KG5. Sometimes we're nostalgic for the older buildings here in Hobart. I do KG5 toilet block.
No,
in any sense.
I just wish that balcony was there when it was my office for 5 years. That would have been nice. Just come out the balcony. No, it's certainly slightly better facilities out here these days, Bob.
Yeah, the grandstand opposite we're commenting for seems to have some sense of the building code being adhered to now compared to, I remember commentating up there on a replacement bit of floorboard one cup final day with your good self.
Yeah, it's looking a little bit better. I'm sure they'd like to have more to be done here, but there's been some progress certainly. The home of football in the south. Strikers might argue Valley Road's home of football, and Doy might make it 3 here. She just poked it wide. She timed the run to perfection. Just directed it wide. It was a superb move again. Doy within a whisker.
I mean, that run and through ball is about as good as you get to see here in Tasmania. That is, managed to split the defence with one pass, and Doy just needed about 2 extra shoe sizes and would have got that absolutely piercing through ball straight through 3 Lonnie United defenders. And Devonport, they're certainly looking for a third here before half time. Probably a standard 1 stoppage time, no drink break here needed today. So that's just about a throw in. Ball launched in the Doy direction, Venn out to collect. And in the sun, not opting for the cap either, which makes a claim like that a little more difficult, as looking for Demaraish. Devonport again in possession as, yeah, can't find a teammate. Dickinson. Oh, that's a bit of a shoulder charge in the end there from Mitchell. Nothing given by the referee. Haven't had too many fouls or free kicks here so far in this first half. As now Demaraish on the ball, one-on-one, turns well past Emmett. Keeping up with the dangerous was Emmett, and target from Demaraish. Mitchell had to be aware and launches that one into the Glenorchy sky. Hill got a touch to it, but White's pace. Doy at the top of it. White looking to go herself, and the shot on target, and Venn will push that one out for a corner. Again, the counter-attack from Devonport, putting Lonnie United under pressure.
Yeah, Michaela Mitchell made the save. Ball was in her hand. She sprinted to the top of the box, ran a full measure, and then launched it to White. So she's on halfway. There is 30 metres further to run in, so I'm just going to try and tee it up. And again, her pace causing problems back the other way. Hill did a pretty good job there, sticking with her. In the end, White buys her side a corner, and they'll push up here and look for a hammer blow towards half-time. Doy's there, bounced off her back, foot from the angle, curled it back, a bit of chaos and over the top of the Abbey variety. She had a header early in the half just over the top. That one, an even better look. Couldn't quite control the volley over the top. And they're getting ever closer to a third of the Strikers.
Yeah, Strikers scored 5 in the cup final last year, and the way they're attacking throughout this first half, it's looking like, well, if they're not trying to match last year's effort, potentially eclipse it as well. They are piling on the pressure here. Lonnie United, more direct goal kicks. I'm seeing them get a little bit better territory, but the kind of pressure here from Doy and Foot. And Lonnie, the midfield track back, as that's another good through ball, but then alert to the danger. And watching Venn live rather than on the live stream and the highlights, there's a good 5 to 8 metre sprint out from the goal. One of those things you don't necessarily get from watching on the stream. As far as keepers in Tassie confidently coming out to collect, one of the better ones I've seen at that aspect so far has been as Sims. Step over through towards Doy. He's clattered afterwards. Play allowed to continue as an advantage. Foot holding the back of her head. That fall on the ground after being tackled.
It's an interesting one. Felt like they had a reasonable advantage they took there.
Yeah, I'm assuming this is going to be a drop ball for head injury rather than a free kick to Devonport.
My assumption, they're all lining up in the box.
Yeah, I think the referee's about to say, Caddy's
Yeah, good.
I mean, Doy hasn't also... Oh, no, they're going to let just possession go, so...
Well done by the referee there.
Yeah.
Taking the advantage that was there. Advantage was almost taken, then brought it back for the head knock. Very well done.
I think if Would immediately got to her feet, it wouldn't have gone back, but was still holding her head in there after that challenge from Mitchell. There's 4 minutes to go. Devonport their attacking half. Wonder if they're also just going to try and control this one before half time. Touch from Fogarty. Cleared out again, only as far as a yellow shirt Dickinson up against Sims, which has been, at least for mine, the matchup and the battle of the afternoon so far here. Dickinson launched down the line. Good pass forward Smith, who didn't quite get their door. Turning back and calmly passing. Yeah, who gets it again. Looks towards White. Hill thought the first time ball forward. Crucial challenge again from Mitchell. Fogarty on that occasion. Fogarty now down the line. Demarash covering plenty of ground up front to be available to collect that ball after just being much closer to our camera position here earlier.
Hard work for her up there every time. She's getting the ball on the run, being forced towards the lines with a sea of bodies around her. Did well to win the throw here, and she'll try and create something, but she does look their outlet at the moment. So they work their way up the wing here. Can they find something to take into the halftime sheds? It would really change the tenor of the halftime team talk. Change momentum of this cup final as Smith just took it a little too tight to the line. Couldn't do anything there. So, goal kick only. Mitchell in no real rush to take this one.
Trying to read what the sign says on the far side that someone's holding up. There's a white sign being held up on occasion, as we're about 80 metres away. My eyesight isn't quite that good. Kind of looked like Believe if you were to make me take a guess, but... Yeah, that one is out of play, and the referee, the AR on this side, has called that. Didn't bring the binoculars today.
I think I've got some in my laptop bag, actually. What are you calling?
Yeah, well, I mean, I took some up to the supercars the other week, which came in very handy looking down the long straight there at Simmons Plains, but I think I'd need them today.
KG5 for a football final as Sims rolls this one through. Van again, he's quick off her line, as you mentioned, Paul. She's very good at that. And gets out to deal with that one. So it's Claire Eaton, now referee in the middle today. Was praising the referee before. Should probably actually reference who it is. So she's had a pretty good first half, you'd have to say, Claire. Not too many spot fires, but been keeping control of things nicely there.
I certainly agree with that so far, Cooling. As Devonport, as we're just about into stoppage time. Haven't seen a fourth officials board yet, although there is now someone standing camouflaged into the black plinth on the other side in full black uniform. Referees trying to stay anonymous. Looks like we'll have 1 minute of added time in this first half. Throw in from Bier. Good touch there. Mascadoy, Lucy Foot thought about first time. Goes with the right foot on that occasion, not the left. Now Venn. That was the right option. I was wondering when the teammate in Bennett was going to point out how open they were on that far side. Good turn there from Demaraesh. Can Lottie United get one with half-time beckoning? Demaraesh on a long run, choosing to go herself. Going to lay that one in. Wants the return ball. Shot. Deflected. And that one's out for a corner. It was on target there from Smith. I was half waiting to see that one nestle in the top right-hand corner. The striker's defender sticking a leg out.
Well, we know she's capable. She's scored many a spectacular goal from outside the box over the years as Lucy Smith. Maybe Demarash had the opportunity to just release that pass a little bit earlier with the two players peeling out to the right, but it almost worked as Smith cut back inside. Plenty of Devonport bodies in the road. So probably the last act of the first half here. Can United pull one back before the half-time whistle? Big opportunity here. Smith will take, sends it in. Headed clear by Foot. And the whistle will deny Demarash an opportunity to get another ball in. So at half-time, 2-0 lead to the Devonport Strikers, who wasted no time scoring the fastest goal in women's statewide cup final history. Just 18 seconds into it, they were ahead, courtesy of their goal machine, Jasmine White. Grace Sims would add another one just past the quarter of an hour mark. And you'd say 2-0, probably a pretty fair reflection on the contest so far, Paul Hunt.
Yeah, when you take into account the amount of shots, the possession and the territory of the Strikers, and it's probably a fair result. And we saw them pushing for a third there for a bit. Lonnie United, well, the game plan somewhat went out the window after that 18 seconds. They have looked threatening from to get a clear clearance up towards Dee Mariah, who has looked pretty threatening when able to give an opportunity like we just saw there with the minutes to go. But it's Devonport Strikers certainly in the ascendancy here and on their way to a third cup final.
Will United be able to flip the script in the second half, or will the Strikers juggernaut power on? We'll find out shortly. We'll be back soon with the second half. 2-0 here at KG5 after 45 minutes.
We've made some new hires. Ooh.
I got a fresh duck coming in hot, thunder.
Introducing Macca's Korean Barbecue Dunk Range.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it.
Particularly as you get only members if you're overseas. It just leads to it even more. Well, I had to send yesterday to go on Canada. It's been a weekend for Canada. A minute to go flying out, but it's serious. Yeah. Well, maybe decimals. Well, I just had to quickly go VPN Canada, Ontario, to actually have a look, because there was nothing in Australia. I got the historical feed out there after, and they looked like they were getting through to see what the record score was. It's 6-0. Well, I'm going to have to start reaching for this, but quite really I'll get to see it all pretty quick.
I'm not watching the game, I'm just watching the screen just to hear. Oh, well, you're getting an audible treat, no doubt, Joe. I think the line's not good, actually. My ears, winding back, I'm going to put one back when you're in your pomp running around in the... which club were you at your pomp? You've had that many of them? Shut up, dude. I'm trying to be at a club where I don't get injured. I haven't found one yet, so that's the mark I'm trying to land on.
Because you know if that was Australia, and we had Game 7, you'd have all the same football teams saying that.
The NHL is smart enough to know that they haven't got
No. Especially once the New York media get into the I just read that this morning. Yeah, Game 3, because Trump's in attendance, they got a Secret Service like pistol or whatever it is, so they're not allowed to use firearms. That would suck. I'm very conflicted on this New York team. I don't like New York very possibly, but I find the actual 5 players on the full bar. I was like, can you just be wearing like just about any other top, and I would be 1,000% behind you. How'd you end up losing 7, wasn't it, or 6? Oh, it was a 5.
We won the first one.
Yes. That was the beat him in the warm-up friendly, and then they just come back and oh yeah.
The second year coach. 2 weeks out from the end of the season. That's such a
That's so
villain brand.
yeah, and the fact they're already in Vegas makes them a villain enough, and then they start doing it.
The most cutthroat organisation I've seen in any professional sport. Players, like, yeah, beloved franchise goalie?
No.
Coach? Nah. Have you seen the Cassidy coach?
No.
The guy they fired want to hire him, but they've got under contract for another year. Like, we are not releasing you from this contract. It clearly says in the contract you are not allowed to coach ever else while this contract stands. So no, we're not going to let you go to a rival team now to win.
Yeah, I was going to say on the it's not like they're going to Boston like on the other side of the country.
They've just gone, no, we deny you permission to speak with him. He's under contract.
I mean,
He might not be our coach, but he's under contract.
but then like the coach
You're getting paid doing nothing.
yeah. I mean, does that like are they
Yes, mate. Find the coach and send it. The Vegas have gone nuts so fast.
even more villain than Florida? Everyone else over yeah. What's the obvious bloke playing? Chuck.
We've just got so many harsh shoulder on there. We've got this collection of rats. Highly skilled rats.
Yeah.
Skullduggery off the charts. Vegas has emerged. No one's going to want to return it.
It's going to be an empty room. It's going to be like when they try and have those 5-year ones at some point and like can't pretend to still play. So you wheel out the 3 old dudes who are like, the 36-year-old, only playing garbage time minutes bloke. What a reunion.
30 seconds on the shot. You can see just in front of the square, and his mark is well inside. Extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. Still right to use your laptop.
Yeah, no, all good. Still got some battery. Here from over Doncaster. So, welcome back for the second half here at KG. Has been made at the break as Rika Johnson has come on for Launceston United. She'll replace Nina Roy. She's been lining up in the middle of the park. So we'll see if that can help change United's fortunes. They've got a mountain to climb in the second half here. The Strikers with one hand on the trophy looking to finish the job here in the second half. They've been outstanding so far, but you never know in cup finals. It's the Strikers looking to get on the ball early on. Smith will drop it back. Bennett tried to curl it round, couldn't quite keep it into Smith.
We actually got a sub for Devonport as well, as I can see Park on the field in Devonport's defence in front of us as well. We'll try and get you a replacement player for that one as soon as we can. Fortunately, the London United one was blared out over the loudspeaker, which made things nice and easy for us.
Wiley, I reckon.
Oh, I reckon you're right.
Yeah, she's coming for Wiley. I like at the back there. Defender who was outstanding in that first half and leaves a defender on the floor as she skips past a couple, then left herself on the floor when she trod on the ball, unfortunately. And the only thing that's gone wrong for Sims thus far in this game, she's been magnificent. To imagine her and Liasa Godoy be the front runners for the best on so far. Best on ground medal, I'd have thought, after that first 45. Would you agree?
I'd certainly agree with that, Andrew. And I'm also just noticing this substitution change from Devonport. I think Tally Park has spent about 2 seconds of this half so far further than the COVID distance away from Olivia Desmarais. She's sticking to her like glue so far. I wonder if Tom Ballantyne's just really trying to shut down what has looked like Launceston United's only real attacking threat outside of the long throws so far in this match. As well, that one's a little loose touch, which sees Lucy Smith get in. Now Johnson, surely that's a foul for in the back, not called on this occasion. As Dickinson now back towards Venn. Good purchase on that one, but not quite the direction into the bench. As Johnson also asking that question of the referee.
Wind picking up a bit here. So hard to know if that's existing up on a scaffold, mind you, but the corner flag blowing a little bit in favour of United, so should have a slightly easier end to attack. At least make it easier to perhaps pump some of those longer balls towards Desmarais.
I think that will continue to be the plan of attack for Launceston United. The Strikers attack down the left-hand side. Doy up against Hill, resuming the battle from the first half. Doy gets on the right peg, and that one over the top, nearly into the wet area, and out for a goal kick. Interesting what London United do. We commented on the first half there, abandoning the short goal kick after about half an hour. We'll see if they revert to what they like to do. They go short. Go out wide towards Bennett. Dropping deep to collect, and now Lucy Smith, that one charged down. But still with possession, that one just staying in. Good battle in the centre of the park, and Atkinson pushing up, but now it's London United attacking out towards the grandstand side. Gunson, who we didn't see a great deal of in an attacking sense in that first half, Danny Gunson, one of the London United's best outlets. Now Mitchell for the Strikers. Straight to a blue shirt, Johnson. Out wide towards Desmarais. Do well to win here a corner, and does so. And we'll see the tall timber of Launceston United stride forward. Dickinson and Fogarty. Even consider Devonport, they're going to still keep the 3 players up as well, so the counter-attack once again could be on.
Yeah, very interesting. They've done that. They've been happy to go one-on-one in the area, so you want to drop an extra body back to try and defend the counter. As they'll swing this one in. Mitchell came out to collect, just had a bit of a fumble though, and then a little bit of miscommunication there, and just forced behind for another one. So another corner opportunity for Smith. Dimarash, Fogarty, likely targets in the air. Dickinson also hovering around the keeper. Smith picks someone out here. Again, curls it in towards Gunton, but Sullivan away. Dimarash can skip around a second defender, and Foot just blasted on out of there. And now a bit of a misjudgment might let White in, and she'll look to burn past Hill here. It's Jasmine White. She storms into the box. She's got 2 in the middle. It was a poor ball in the end. Straight to Venn.
Yeah, good defence though, running Jazz White to really into no man's land around the 18-yard box line. Not really anywhere you'd expect a goal to be scored when you've got a keeper like Jazz Venn and her shot-stopping ability. Also, the angle wasn't that good for a cross either, as Hill cuts out the pass from Doy, and then Doy does likewise to the Dickinson pass. Hill wanting a free kick, not given. And now Lonnie United attack with the shot firing in, but harmlessly wide in the end.
Geez, that's a good 30 seconds from Katie Hill. Made the one-on-one sprint back to deny White, then 2 big challenges there in the middle. Such a experienced head at the heart of that defence, and coming up with some big moments for a side here. They cannot afford to concede a third as they try and play their way through some trouble here. Fulton draws the free kick in the end.
Don't know if that's a Bronx cheer for the first free kick of the day or what that was for, coming from our right-hand side.
Just some United fans just trying to get a lift from their team out of the wet area by the sounds of things, Paul. Trying to enthuse, but they're going to have some more defending to do. They've coughed it up. Joy, White was offside, but Sims is making a storming run. Dickinson across to deal with it. And keeps it in too, so she might be able to, well, she thought about retreating back to Ben, but Jazz White was covering that, and it's going to be a Devonport throw.
Devonport continuing where they left off in the first half, really trying to get that third goal that would probably, more likelihood, put this game away. And they don't quite have a long throw specialist like Dickinson. And they go in short towards Doy. Hill again does well, just having the opponent needing to turn that bit wider to get around and get back to the ball, allowing the covering defender to take us. Devonport with the throw at halfway. Wind again starting to pick up off the Derwent. Someone's flicked on towards White. White up against Dickinson. In towards Doy. Gets it on the right foot. Pass towards Foot. Now Sullivan with the shot. And that one over the top and into the car park for a goal kick.
Really hit that with much conviction. Didn't just kind of sense like, well, it's probably the best option to take given the room I've got here, but really hit it with the belief that was going to fit. Did Devonport's fullback, as again they're just pressing up and forcing the turnovers, and Foot works it to Doy. Tried the return ball. Foot was not expecting it. Doy was anticipating a run into the area, but Foot not the one to make that. And again, they'll try and play their way out from the back. Committed to this approach. Devonport press up, and they've won the throw once again.
Demaraeus dropping deeper and deeper from halfway to try and get on the ball now that Lonnie United are taking those goal kicks a bit shorter again. And once again, it is Tally Park marking, as we can see now, as Demaraeus can't quite win that one. That's a good intercept from Lucy Smith, but Danny Gunn's not quite on the same wavelength. Now, Sims again. Dickinson staying on top and winning that occasion, and Didn't get a great deal of the ball there as Sims charged that one down.
Katie Hill again on hand to save the day.
She's been everywhere, especially even more so in the second half than the first. Clearly trying to keep things locked down, keeping this at 2-0, giving Launceston United a sliver of a chance. And it's been Dee Mariah who trying to get the ball on that occasion. And that time goes out from Park. And deeper Dee Mariah drops. It's not like they're passing on the marking option. It's Dee Mariah is going, and they resume battle here. Park knocks it out for a throw. Devonport, Launceston gaining distance here. Eventually even just continuing this trend for a bit and then getting the Dickinson throw in to be launched. Caught in a sandwich there with Sims. Now White trying to stay on side. I think she has on this occasion. Not quite. The flag goes up. And White gets a fair share of goals, does Jazz White. Also a fair share of offsides, but you take it when you've got a striker like that in your side.
It's living and dying by the sort of task she plays. She just hovers off the last defender's shoulder, looks to make those runs. She knows no one's going to catch her if she can steal a yard. There's no one's going to track her down once she gets in behind, so it's always going to lead to a fair amount of offsides, but it certainly leads to a lot of goals. The amount of goals we've seen White running behind and score down the journey. Significant demarrage. Here's an opportunity for United, who was their best one of the match thus far, and it's just wide of the far post. A volleyed effort from Demarage, and just launching it up there into the mixer. Almost brought about the scoring opportunity. Demarage was not far away there. A warning shot across the bows of the strikers.
I don't mind that from London United. From that free kick, Johnson was screaming in the centre circle for the short option, but Demarage managing to roll the defender and getting a shot on. It wasn't too far away. It's now Johnson. Skipping past two. Getting the ball there and winning a corner for Launceston United. After a fairly quiet first 10 minutes of this half, London United starting to put some pressure on this striker's back line.
The sub's been lively thus far, Johnson. She's added a little bit, I feel.
I certainly agree. Getting in and around and being available to receive the ball short, and now starting to do some attacking work. It's 5 in the box to aim for. That one headed towards goal by Fogarty. The London United crowd have travelled down in good numbers. They're sort of mainly perched in the left-hand side of the grandstand, and you look at it, and the right-hand side of your picture, starting to make a bit of noise and trying to get their team back into this one. That's a good header from Sullivan. Foot. Sullivan continuing the run. Katie Hill coming across. Sullivan gets there first. Cross coming in. And that one too close towards Fenn. It was Doy furthest forward for the strikers. Probably one of the furthest forward we've seen Sullivan in this match, at least in the second half, starting to get forward a bit more.
Yeah, she's certainly marauding up that right-hand flank a bit. So United just starting to ask a few questions. It's been their best 10 minutes of the match, really, this start to the second half. Can they claw one back on the scoreboard and really make things interesting here? 2 goals past this striker's defence is going to be a difficult assignment, since they need to make some inroads here reasonably early on whilst they've got a little bit of time in the ascendancy. Dickinson's going to launch this one into the area. White rose to nod clear. Sims working back hard as she has, and then just through the legs of Mitchell, if you don't mind. Having a fine day in midfield, Sims. Hill shuts that one down. Down the line they go. Demarage battling away, was beaten to it on that occasion though. Yeah. Turning with composure despite the pressure was Fogarty. Cool as the other side of the pillow there, despite a couple of players bearing down on her. And she surely draws the foul there.
I mean,
The referee says play on, tells her to get up. And get up she did and kept advancing the football. The Strikers then win it back via White. And now a dangerous moment down the left. A couple in the middle. Foot's there, White's there, but so too is the ever-present Katie Hill, who repels another attack. Joy will cycle it round the back to Bier. White back to Doy. Doy lofts it in, looking for Foot, but found only Jaslyn Venn.
I've no idea what more Fogarty needs to do there to A, get out of trouble, or B, win a free kick. There's some fantastic turning on the ball there from the Launceston United centre-back, and in the first instance didn't really have a winger or a centre mid giving an option. Managed to win the foul, and again, as we've seen a couple of times, the whistle stays away, letting them play in this cup final as White manages to stay onside, and still onside, and now is in a foot race against Dickinson. Dickinson goes shoulder to shoulder and gets wide, a bit wider, tries to find Doy in the sliding challenge from Hill. We'll see that one out for a corner. As coach of the Strikers, Tom Balancer, not happy about something in particular on that occasion. First time we've really heard either of the coaches from this far side of the ground in this match. As we tick past the 1 hour played, half an hour left in the Women's Statewide Cup final. Devonport still 2 goals to the good, and with a corner. And there's plenty of bodies in that 6-yard box, almost the whole Launceston United team. As Foot gets the header on, cleared away in front of Van. Doy keeps it in play. Back towards Lucy Foot, charged down, calls for a penalty. Not given, only really the one player appealing massively, as I'm pretty sure the hands were as close to the body as could be when a shot comes firing in at you from about a yard away.
Yeah, it would have been extremely harsh, certainly from our look. Didn't really have time to react. It's just a massive humanity in the 6-yard box there ahead of the keeper, and they'll go for that approach again. It'll be another in-swinging corner. Venn fights her way to it, got hands to it, but spilt it, cleared away, and now Johnson just caught dwelling on the ball in a dangerous position. Foot retreats back to Park, and Hill heads cleared. Doy looking to turn free is Doy. She's surrounded by United shirts, so just trying a bit of individual brilliance, but once again, Katie Hill has been the Rock of Gibraltar back there this half particularly. Makes another big defensive win for her side. She is doing everything at the back for this Lonnie United side. The captain leading from the front, just trying to keep it at 2-0. She needs someone up top to do something the other way.
You're not trying to nutmeg Katie Hill in that situation. Hill running across, knew exactly what was trying to happen there, shut the gate and then won the foul as well. As throwing down the line in the Foot direction, poked forward towards White. Hill clears, Foot puts that one up in the air. Dickinson, the only blue shirt there, and does well to head. Fogarty wanted a foul again, but nothing given on this occasion. See a bit more movement on the Launceston United touchline. Quite sure if you time to go full out attack against this Devonport side, but it is a cup final as Sims tries to find a pocket of space. Well cleared. Di Moraes holding the ball up expertly, but well challenged by the Strikers. White with the foot. Can't find Doy. And now, what can Lucy Smith do? Right in front of our camera position here. Looks forward down the line. Evades one challenge. Tries to go past another. Good tackle from Atkinson. Park nearly gets a toe in. Doy, the second defender, using her body well. Jinx past one. The game starting to open up in terms of the midfield here. Bit of space, and the short passing game, largely when Doy's not on the ball, gone away here as Launceston United try to push to get back in the game, but that's a good ball out wide. Crossed in towards the back stick, and White, wow, may have just misread that one. It was a wonderful ball from Sullivan. Got clattered afterwards as well, but the offside flag goes up.
Outside of the boot, through ball from Asuka Doy. Well, she might have missed a lot of football this year through injury, but has not missed a beat here this afternoon.
Look away as well.
Just conducting like the conductor of an orchestra this afternoon. Is Asa Godoy picking gaps in the defence, threading balls, making things happen. So they hold on at the back, United, under increasing pressure. It remains 2-0 Atkinson. That one nicely broken up by Mitchell. Emmett try and track this one down, but the United throw. Midway point of the second half. They find a goal. Spark this contest back to life. United, no easy task. Demarayas, every time the ball goes in her direction, she's got multiple players surrounding her. Again, they do well just to advance it up the wing, and Dickinson can give this one a launch into the penalty area if she so desires. They've looked dangerous from those long throws. They'll go again. Too much on it for Demarash. Come and try and track it, but Foot got there first and clears it over the top. And now here's some danger because Jasmine White has got open field ahead of her. She's tearing off into the box. Sims making a run at the back post. White took the shot on early because Hill had made great recovery strides to get there and cover. But now Doy intercepts. Doy could land a knockout blow. She does. Venn got a hand to it but couldn't keep it out. And Asika Doy, who has put on a midfield masterclass in the cup final, adds a goal to make it 3-0, and that might just be that.
Yeah, Launceston United with the desperate defending. Katie Hill's tracking back was absolutely outstanding, but the clearance falling to who so far is the best player on the park in Athuka Doy, got the shot off. Then it's one of those ones you see in penalties where the keeper gets 3/4 of a hand to it, but just going underneath into the far corner. That makes it 3-0. Strikers on their way to a third consecutive Women's Statewide Cup final, going after the treble double here. Stage 1, we'll see if they win the league. They would have done the double 3 years in a row. Lonnie United, it'll be interesting what they do from here. 25 minutes left in this contest, and it is going to be a tall order to come back against the class act of Tasmanian women's football in the Strikers.
Yeah, 3 goals in arrears. Pretty steep old mountain to climb now. Feel like it's 2-0. They're still half a chance if they could snatch one back the other way, maybe create a bit of a nervy finish, but a third goal that they've been threatening to do arrives. That's a Godoy, perhaps fittingly the one to put it through. She's been outstanding. And United, well, they need a miracle now. We've seen it happen in football, but it would take something pretty special from here.
As we were discussing at half-time, the best player on the park is for a player of the match award, and obviously we sort of ended up naming all 3 of the Strikers attacking trio, but I think Doy in this second half has pulled clear. Absolute class act, and obviously great to have someone of that calibre playing here in Tasmania. Certainly been one of the best players full stop, as well as just imports we've had here in women's football in the WSL. There's throw down the line, Johnson whacks clear. That clearance not quite getting the distance. Mitchell quickly off her line to claim that one. There's plenty of space here on the camera side, but in the end goes long, and going to see the wind hold that one up a bit. Fogarty with the huge header. White chasing that one down. Still full of running is Jazz White. Now finding Lucy Foot, who'd love a goal in the cup final. Already numerous medals in the trophy cabinet, Lucy Foot, over the years in this competition. Previously of Launceston and the Institute of Sport. United throw it down the line. That one staying not quite in the field of play there for Lucy Smith. Warming up on the Devonport bench. We've got one person going through a proper warm-up. I'd expect that to be Maddie Payne, who, according to Devonport sources before the game, he usually comes on about the 60th, 70th minute mark of most games to run at a potentially tired defence. As calls for handball, not given. Doy reading the spin of the ball there. The shot coming in, but straight at Jaslyn Venn on this occasion from the Strikers defender, Abby White.
And obviously the results speak for themselves, but when you're a player like Maddie Payne not starting, that shows how strong you are. There's not a team in the state she wouldn't be starting for, I don't think, outside of Devonport. She is a star and can't crack the starting lineup as Jasmine White looking to add a fourth here for the Strikers. She's hungry for another one, cuts inside. Might have been better off just crossing that one into the mixer. Just getting a little hungry with a 3-0 lead maybe there. Jazz White, as all good strikers are. That one shut down, and here's Doy again, threading it for Foot, who slides it through, and Sims might add a fourth, but it's just wide of the post. It was superb flowing football, a beautiful move, and Sims almost had a second.
Oh, not sure how that didn't quite go in there from Sims, and as we can see, the Devonport Strikers fans starting to get into the wet area there to cheer their team home. They'd love a fourth as they attack down that end. And Sims been one of the best players on the park, certainly of the players who we didn't necessarily talk about in the pre-game. Certainly shone here on the big stage this afternoon as Johnson gets a toe in. The Whites nearly combined there as Dickinson goes for a run up forward, looks for Demaraesh, and the three Devonport Strikers still back in defence. Managed to get that one. I thought the offside flag was going to go up on White there, and this time she's in here. Jazz White goes through the keeper and around, and Jasmine White gets a fourth for the Strikers. That has been coming, and putting the icing on top of the cake here are the Strikers.
Yeah, White has just been a thorn in their side with her runs in behind the defence all afternoon, and again with some speed. It was a beautiful through ball to pick her out. Slides it past Ben. She bags her second. 4-0. And the Strikers will be the Women's Statewide Cup champions. The juggernaut continues to roll on. They were heavy favourites coming into the match. As Lucy Foot has a word with Tom Ballantyne. Still all business, but you got to think he's celebrating a bit inside. This game is done. 4-0. Party time for the Strikers faithful. They're hoping it's going to be a huge celebration today with another cup final to follow this one, but that's one of the two trophies they're looking to take back up the highway.
Yeah, they got the plinths ready for them in the Devonport Strikers trophy room as we see subs from both sides.
I think our scoreboard operator on the stream's going to sleep, Bob.
I think so. There's plenty happening as
you're tuning in. 4-0 is the score now.
Number 12 for Launceston United went off in Fulton, and I can't quite tell who's come off for the Strikers. We'll get those subs to you in a second. We were trying to get the scoreboard operator to fix that at the time. White doing a sneaky and hiding in the shade on the grandstand side there while talking to the coach with ample room there. Did Jazz White.
Sims, maybe?
Yeah, we'll look at that in a sec as no foul given there as Payne comes on and goes up top, and given Jazz White has gone out to the left wing, I reckon that is Sims who's come off. There's number 16 for Launceston United who's come on. Lucy Smith. And Johnson. Now Foot for the Strikers. Only one to aim for. Payne goes in that direction. Skips around one. The fresh legs. That one straight to Van, who collects that one comfortably. Rolls it out towards Johnson. Here's a bit more room here for Launceston United. Down this left-hand side. And the pass going off the outside of the foot rather than the inside, as was intended.
So yeah, a Sims off for Devonport and a Sims on for Lonnie United. Olive Sims has come on. That's been a very late addition to that team sheet.
Yeah, I also wrote it down as 18, not 16, so that's why I was pausing there for a sec. Got my even numbers wrong there, as now Payne. Good run there from Sullivan, sensing the space opening up and crosses that one into Doy. Lovely first time ball, just a little high for Payne to get to. We've got 15 minutes and change left here. Strikers 4-0 to the good, as you can now see on your screens. That one facing the wrong direction, and Foot still full of running here. Gets towards the byline. Only one really to aim for, and that is Payne. Payne turning, gets on the left foot. Shot charge down. Dickinson and towards Gunson. Launches that one forward. Dimarash. I felt even at 2-0 down in that first half, Dimarash was still getting in good positions and getting a fair few decent touches of the ball when playing as an isolated striker. But this second half, all service has been cut off by the strikers.
Well, isolated is the word. I mean, every time she's received the ball, there's been 3 yellow shirts around her and not a lot for her to work with, so she's basically had to try and do it herself and get past them. She's often got past 1, occasionally 2, but there's just always been that extra body, and just hasn't led to the clear openings. There's that one opportunity where she flashed that shot past the post. It's the only real chance that's fallen away. That sneaks in, who knows? But look, Devonport 4-0 ahead. They've been the dominant team. You can't argue with the scoreline at this point. They've been outstanding, as they have been for so long. Although United looking to pull one back here as Smith tees one across the face. Gunson has Sims in support, but ignores that, and Foot blocks it away and will retreat back to Mitchell, who clears it away. Bennett. That one too much on it for Olive Sims, but 4-0, still quarter of an hour left, and I don't think they're going to stop attacking the strikers. There'll be some hunger for another one, that is for sure. Everyone wants to score a goal in the cup final. Maddie Payne, who just come on, I'm sure will be keen to add one. It's game well and truly beyond doubt at this point. Jasmine White, chance for a hat-trick in a cup final, I suppose. Another one, she'll be keen to try and find another one. There's Maddie Payne here. Just turns and threads it through, and Asuka Doy's going to get on the end of it. She's round the keeper. Will she track it down in time? She does, but the angle is against her, so she cuts it back to White and puts in a 5th. Asuka Doy outstanding, and White gets a hat-trick. But it's been an incredible display from the Japanese star, and she put it on a platter for White, who does what she does best.
I thought for all money that was a heavy touch without even taking it. First time cross to the back stick. It's probably the best pass of the whole game so far, and that's saying something from Asuka Doy. That is an outstanding assist, as good as you'll see, and White, as you just mentioned, looking for that cup final hat-trick, and she has it. Devonport 5, Launceston United 0, and for those interested at home, record score since the Women's Statewide Cup final came back in 06, a 6-0 win for Olympia Warriors back a few years ago now, more than a decade. And now we'll see what Launceston United can do. Down the left-hand side. And tries to turn. Not coming to fruition on that occasion, but you can't say enough about how good an assist that is from Doy.
Just got in out of the keeper, and it did seem like she probably had a little too much on, but still tracked it down and just kind of smashed it across the face. White in the perfect spot, but 5-0, and they're just a relentless machine, this Devonport side. And as the United defence has probably got a little bit tired here from the amount of defending they've had to do, there have been a few more gaps for those balls to slide through in. They've taken full advantage of, but there's just not enough plaudits to deliver for this Devonport side. This is going to be another cup final victory. They're well on their way to a 3rd consecutive season without a defeat in any competition. It's incredible stuff. It's a dynasty that Tom Ballantyne is creating up there at the Portress as United. And Smith, a bit wasteful there, puts it over the goal line, but a few heads have dropped from United now. They know the race well and truly run, but Devonport, what a brilliant outfit they are. They have just been at their
dominant best here on a beautiful day at KG5, and Asta Godoy has just been at the heart of so much of it. The flag will go up on white here, just straight a little early.
Now, I was just looking up the Women's Super League table there. Devonport plus 39 goal difference as well for their 9-0 record, as we see another substitution from Launceston United. Matthews coming on, or coming...
Duff for Bennett.
Duff. And Bennett there on that occasion. And both teams here today back down in Hobart this coming weekend. Devonport at South Hobart Dog Park, Darcy Street here for the Women's Super League game. And Launceston United back here at KG5 against Glenorchy Knights, who have been in good form in the Women's Super League this season as Mitchell comes out to collect. Knights in third position, being the big improvers over the league season. It's Johnson looking for an option. Eventually finds Hill. A little bit of bubbling noise we heard before with Launceston United really gone down from the crowd here. Devonport in raptures. It's a strong diving challenge in there. Surely you got to pull that one back.
Just the second one too.
Yeah. I was recently watching the new Vinnie Jones documentary on Netflix. That wouldn't have looked out of place there from a visual standpoint. Didn't make any contact like the 90s hard man, but
probably a good thing she didn't with that second one. It was not so well timed. Free kick, and pumped along towards Dimarash, but flicked on by White, getting back and getting ahead on it. Shielding that back four. United try and find the consolation goal in the final 10 minutes here as we tick towards the conclusion. The Strikers' celebrations can kick off in earnest. Doy. Wide for Pierre. Here's White. Hat-trick in a cup final, starts the move, and now she tears off free to make a run in behind, and this one played for Sullivan, but it'll be broken up. Sullivan, though, forces the turnover, and now some work here for Duff to do against Payne, who knocked her over, but legally says that the referee, and then squares it. Then spilled into a dangerous area. Johnson slides in, and eventually the offside flag had been raised.
I did think that was a foul from our vantage point in the build-up. And Van got there first, but always an awkward one for the keepers. You've got to either... Can't really parry it straight into the penalty spot, as there's usually an attacker there ready and waiting. The offside flag preventing a sixth from the Strikers, as this time Smith manages to get past the opposing defender. Demarash up ahead, goes the outside of the foot. Gunson turning. That's good defence again from the Strikers, as Foot now. Atkinson back towards Foot. Jazz and White there on the left-hand side. Heavy second touch, and that one has come off the Strikers' attacker as Van going to collect, and assumed that was about to be picked up, but laid out towards Dickinson. Good tracking there from White. Now back to the keeper. Switches on. Matty Payne shuts that one down and forces the clearance straight to White. He'll... I think in the previous 80 minutes we've seen that being closed down there from both sides, but with the result out of question, quite as much of the high press going on here as the Strikers reclaim the ball. Park can't quite keep it in, and Launceston United, I think, doing the good thing and giving the bench a bit of a run in a cup final.
Yeah, giving a few minutes to some younger players at the end here. Looks like Indy Young is going to come on here. You might as well use your subs. The results beyond doubt. Come all the way down. Give them a few minutes at the end. See if they can find a goal, conjure something to remember the day positively by. Won't be too many positive memories for them. They've been well and truly outplayed by this brilliant Devonport side today. Powerhouse of Tasmanian women's football for a number of years now, and have shown just why today. United, well, they'll be happy to have made an impressive run to the final, a big semi-final victory, perhaps a little unexpected at the time, given their position in the league. So something to take away from it, or a bit of a cup run when you're not having the best league season. I think they can build on this into the second half, but there's been a distinct gulf out there today. Some strikers will ring a couple of changes as well. As Jasmine White comes off a hat-trick in a cup final for the goal machine. He continues to just score for fun year after year. She scores astronomical numbers of goals and has well and truly had her say today.
Yeah, when you look at the Women's Super League ladder, you've got Devonport clearly on top, but the middle pack this year, a lot tighter than normal. South Hobart 18, Taroona on 9 points, and that covers 5 teams, which is over half the league. So that middle area of the league, you would assume that first is out of place for most teams, but I think second in the evenness of the competition, Taroona picking up a couple of nice wins over the last 2 weeks with the return of a couple of important players. As the shirt pull, not called there on Doyer, just expertly turns out of trouble. As foot now towards Sullivan. Payne managed to stay onside. Fogarty turning out of trouble nicely. And that one launched in the Demarage direction. Park got the clearance in and falls out for a throw. Young leaving that one for fellow substitute Duff, and that one cleared again by the strikers. We've had a few goals and a few subs, so probably the usual 3 or 4 minutes of stoppage time here to come shortly as Park eventually gets that one away and forward towards Payne. Step over on Fogarty. Fogarty tries to turn and won't win the throw in. Well, that came off the toe of Maddie Payne in the end, but leave that one for Sullivan. A foot. Getting the ball back. Devonport trying to play a few more shorter passes as Payne goes out wide and tries to find a teammate. Pressure from the substitute in Young. Doy turning. Sullivan in an acre of space on this far side, and that's where it goes. Cross towards the centre, and Hill has been there once again. And towed out for a throw.
Doy just continuing to create in the final third. Been prepping her for this game, and she might not be done yet. Fires another one in, and this time it's dispatched by Taylor off the bench and onto the score sheet. And it's another assist for the Japanese maestro, Asuka Doy. And Devonport have 6. They match the record in the cup final. It's been 6 of the best. This is scintillating stuff from the strikers.
Oh, you just have to stand up and applaud the play of someone like Asuka Doy when you have them in your state. That's another fantastic cross across the face of the box. And Londy United, I think once that third went in, he sort of sensed that the game's a little bit out of reach. And you've certainly seen players like Hill and Fogarty still defend quite well. But Devonport, they're starting to turn the screw. They're not letting up. And Londy United, look, they'll have enjoyed the experience again. They've been in 4 cup finals so far this decade, winning the one. Today, it's been a real masterclass from Devonport as the cross can come in, but the flag is raised as Lucy Foot thought about having a spectacular shot on goal there.
Well, we said pre-game Whitney Knight out was a big out for Devonport, but what a luxury to be able to bring in Asuka Doy to replace her. And boy, has she. They've probably, placed the 2 best players in the state over the last couple of years, one coming in for the other, you'd say there. And Doy has just been masterful here. Free kick there. Emmett down on the ground. Worse for wear. But yeah, you're right. I think once that third goal went in, the heads have dropped a little bit. And I knew their race was run, and Devonport have just really enjoyed themselves here. Must be a good feeling being able to play out the last 30 minutes of a cup final knowing you're going to win. And they're just seeing that in their play. It's exuding joy.
I think they've enjoyed playing on this bigger, smoother pitch as well. Obviously at Valley Road they've got the grass pitch for the main games and the synthetic for training and some of the other lower divisions up there, so they are used to this surface. And we've talked in the past in the men's competition down here, teams who like the bigger, wider, flatter pitch when they can pass and show their quality. And that's been the case with the Strikers women here today. And you can just see the way you can see what their game plan is as well, with Foot and Doy in that central midfield and attacking areas, winning the ball and spraying the passes up to one of the three or four good strikers they've had today. White, Sims, Payne off the bench, and the latest goal scorer as well in Taylor. Getting goals from everywhere here, the Strikers, as we have a minute and change left. The wind picks up here, so Devonport on track again for a third straight title win as Di Moraes manages to get that one in the box and just a little bit behind teammate in Young. Sees that one out for a Launceston United throw. Devonport again in action in an hour's time in the men's Launceston Cup final as well. It's on Valentine. Well, he's got to turn his attention to that one now and make it another great day in Strikers history. And 3 minutes to come here as the Strikers thought about going the lightning quick counter attack and ended up laying it back. Hill getting ahead to it. Doy is turning with effortless ease in front of the grandstand. Payne. Hill uses the body well. So Vuvuzelas start to come out. I can't tell if that's Devonport fans or Kingborough ones warming up for an hour's time. They love a Vuvuzela down there at Lightwood Park.
I suspect we'll hear a few of them this afternoon when the Lions faithful roll in for the Lacquer Cup final. Devonport looking to make it a massive day out for their club. The women have taken care of things and then be able to follow suit. Be shocked if it was 6-0 in that one. It should be an interesting game. Devonport worthy victors in the Women's Statewide Cup, though. It'll be a third triumph in a row. So they look for a third consecutive unbeaten year. The offside flag had been raised there. We've got the quick sign-off at full-time, Paul, so we might as well use the last couple of minutes here. Final thoughts on the match?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just been a Devonport masterclass here this afternoon. Player of the match, Suka Doy, comfortably. It's just been, frankly, a pleasure to watch in person. Someone just pulling the strings in attacking mid at this level, as just making sure that one didn't come anywhere near our scaffolding at the final couple of minutes. Launceston United, I thought, it battled well. You could see that first goal. I mean, that's you never want to concede after 18 seconds. But I thought they kept it pretty well to keep it at 2 by half time. As an interesting battle going on here. Payne finally called for the foul. But really, it's not been a reflection on Launceston United being in any way sort of, quote unquote bad. It's just been the talent of Devonport, and they're just such a good team. As Mitchell keeps that one in to prevent the corner, showing great determination to not have to defend a corner when 6-0 up in the 91st minute. But yeah, I think it's just a case of Devonport being excellent today, and that's my main takeaway from today.
I think we saw Mitchell there. A keeper wants to preserve that clean sheet. Wouldn't want to give that one away in the final minute of a cup final. As Foot, maybe chance for one more. But yeah, I'd echo those sentiments. It's just been brilliance from Devonport, and especially as we've been singing the praises of Asuka Doy. She's been absolutely outstanding in the middle. And they have been good value for this victory. United responded pretty well after falling behind early, 2-0 at half-time. They were still in it. Maybe if Di Moraes had been able to curl that one in, but really it's probably the only chance of note they've had throughout the 90 minutes, and they've just piled up for the Strikers, who can now celebrate the Women's Statewide Cup for 2026. The Devonport Strikers emphatically 6-0 over Launceston United. 6 of the best. They were brilliant and deserve their victory. A hat-trick for Jasmine White, a starring role from Asuka Doy, and the Strikers' celebrations can kick off now as they go back to back to back, and they may well register another unbeaten year. But dominant with Devonport, And they can celebrate a thumping 6-0 victory. Our cameraman's got to get down there now for the presentation. So Andrew Cooling and Paul Hunt signing off. We'll be back for the Lacquer Cup final shortly. Well done to the Devonport Strikers.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for your attendance this afternoon on a fine early winter's afternoon at KG5. An exceptional game we've witnessed this afternoon, and a round of applause please for the football that we've just witnessed, and both teams. I would like to introduce the independent member for Nelson, Meg Webb, who will present trophies and medals in this presentation, assisted by the CEO of Football Tasmania, Tony Pinata. There's no game without skilled match officials, so the first thing I'll do is call forward our match officials this afternoon to receive their medals from Meg Webb. First of all, the referee, centre referee, Claire Eaton. Assistant referee number 1, Meg Goscombe. Assistant referee number 2, Gypsy McDermott. And the 4th official, Ludo Falchione. Always disappointing to lose in a cup final, but Launceston United can be proud of their efforts today. And I would like to call forward their captain, Catherine Hill, to say a few words on behalf of her team.
First of all, congratulations to Lucy and the Devonport Strikers. They're a cut above today, and they have been for a while. But to our girls, in what is undeniably a rebuild year, playing with almost an entirely new group of players to make this club's 4th cup final is undeniably outstanding. And despite the fact that we were not good enough today, making it here as a group is something that we can be proud of. Thank you to the refs, thanks to the supporters, especially our guys that travelled. Congrats again, Devonport.
Thank you, Catherine. We've had a panel of members who've watched the game closely to award today's McDonald's Player of the Match. The votes are in. It was a very, very close decision, I'm told. We had a hat-trick today, numerous scorers, numerous exceptional performances for Devonport Strikers. But with 1 goal and a clutch of assists, Ash Godoy is our Player of the Match. I'll now call forward the winning captain of Devonport Strikers, Lucy Foote, to say a few words.
Thank you very much. Firstly, I'd like to thank FFT, all the sponsors and all the officials to make today happen. Must be a very tough job being a referee because there's a decision that's never right. Also, thank you, Lonnie United. We always know we're going to be up for a tough battle with you. Oh, we're cutting out. A tough battle with you guys. You're obviously building, and congratulations for making the final. That's a big credit, and hopefully you continue to build throughout the year. Sorry, I'll just thank my own team. Well done, girls. It's always a big pressure game, and I think we really stood up today. I'm proud of every single one of you, even the girls that didn't make the team today, travelled down, and also all the supporters that have travelled down. We love your support, and keep supporting us. Thank you.
Stay with me. Lucy, I'll get you to step forward and receive your medal, your match medal from Meg Webb, and then return to me and call forth your teammates and team officials to receive their medals as well.
We've got our Vice Captain, Mickey, Maddie Payne, Tully, I'm not going to do last names, Holly, Grace, Abby, Belle, Elizabeth, Bella, Nana, Jasmine, Izzy, Jem, Vouch, our player of the match, Oscar. Yep. Our coach, Tom, Richard, Brian, And our wonderful manager, Danielle. Also like to invite the rest of the girls over as well.
You jump in the front there and we'll get you the... And with everyone in position, I'll ask Meg Webb to come forward and present Lucy Foote, the captain, with the Women's Statewide Cup trophy. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing your 2026 Women's Statewide Cup champions, Devonport Strikers.